Hi everybody, we're going to be taking a look at scoresAverage. So this question from the AP1 subset at CodingBat is basically going to return one of two different averages from an array. So if we look at an example here, here's an array. So the idea is that it's going to take your scoresAverage method is going to take the average of the first set of numbers, the first half, and it will separately take the average of the second half, and then it's going to return whichever is the larger average. So the average for the first half here is 2, right? The average of 2 and 2 is 2, and the average of the last half is 4. So which is larger? Well, 4, so it returns 4. Here's another example. The first half is going to be, it's length 6, so it's going to be the first 3. So the average of that is 4. The average of the last half is 2. So what does it return? The larger one, which is 4. A similar example here. What's the average of 3, 4, 5? Well, the average value is 4. What's the average of 1, 2, 3? The average value is 2. So it returns the larger one, which is 4. So it suggests that you create a helper method that will help you practice functional decomposition. And that's a good thing, and it makes it so you don't have to repeat yourself over and over again with code. Code reuse is a great concept to master. So that's the kind of setup of the question. If you'd like to pause the video here, if that helps you understand it, if that was sort of the difficult part about the question, then pause me and go for it. And when you're ready, come back. We'll take a look at the answer. And here we go. Here I go. Well, here's my answer. I'll focus on maybe the top half first. So basically, I record the front average, so the average of the first half. And I use this average method, which I've written down here, which we'll talk to in a second. But just assume that this will calculate the first half. This calculates the second half. And then I decide if the front is bigger, then I return front. Otherwise, I return back. So this is sort of where all the magic happens of calculating averages. So we'll go down and take a look at what that is. So this is a separate method, and it takes an array, but also a start and end index. And it will return the average of all the values that are in this range. And the deal is, when I calculate the first half, I send it, the start index would be 0, and the end index is scores.length divided by 2, minus 1. Minus 1 is important there so that you end on the right value. And then for the back average, I'm going to start at scores.length divided by 2 and end at scores.length minus 1. Minus 1 being important so that you don't go out of bounds. And so, the actual method itself is just a matter of going through everything from from the start index to the end index and adding them up in a sum variable, and then dividing it by the number of things that you had in the array. So scores.length divided by 2. I'm looking at this now, and I notice my sum is an int, and so I'm going to return an int average. And I don't know, I guess it worked. So that's great. But in hindsight, I mean, it turns out that all the averages were ints, so that's good. I might maybe revisit that and change this up to float or something to make this a better solution overall. I guess you're supposed to return an int in the end, so I guess that's a fine assumption to make, because ultimately it's got to be an int, so you can calculate your average in ints as well. Okay, that is scoresAverage. I hope that helped out. Bye.